Welcome to the GRID IRN-CRU podcast, an NFL podcast made in Scotland by NFL lovers. You're listening to and watching the preview crew. Well, it's not the preview crew anymore. This is the new crew. And I'm your host, Keith McGinty. Great start to season 2, gents. The crew returns after a few weeks in the darkness after Super Bowl 57 to discuss all the latest news, roster cuts, franchise tags, and draft positioning within the NFL. We also discuss the current coaching shake-ups in the NFL and how they will affect the team's chances of heading to the postseason. If you're enjoying listening, watching, and to the crew, please like, subscribe, and follow the crew on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. But I can't do this alone, and I am delighted to say I'm joined by a lineup of some of the finest crew members that I could manage to rustle up at this time on a Thursday evening. First up, we've got Studs all the way in Hamilton. Studs, how are we, my friend? Congratulations to you and the Chiefs on your Super Bowl championship.
Cheers, mate. It's all good. Probably still on a high for the Super Bowl. It was a cracking night with the boys, cracking catch up, to be honest. And I mean, the game itself was just. I know I was on the crew to kind of talk about it, but it was an unbelievable game. So I just still buzzing after that and looking forward to Travis Kelce's Saturday Night Live appearance this weekend. So I'll need to try and catch that.
Oh, is it him? Right, I'll need to try and, like you say, get a wee look at that and see what he does. He seems quite a funny guy. His podcast and the way his brother seems really good. They're quite emotional. They're quite open. I'm looking forward to that. So that's what day is that on? Nearly. It was worth a try. Worth a try. Going from one big Chief to one big Brown fan, and that is over to Brian Donlan. How are you, my friend?
Oh, very well, and embracing the dark time. And I've actually decided to be philosophical about the off season for a change this year, and rather than be devastatingly upset that there's no live football, look into things like the XFL, which actually isn't terrible. Which who'd have thunk it? And just really get invested in all things off season. Looking forward to, not tonight, but looking forward to in future pods talking about things like the combine. And we are not long away from the draft, which gives me it gives me excitement as an NFL fan. It gives me no excitement as a Browns fan because we don't get to pick till like 83rd or something ludicrous because we gave up all our picks. But yeah, no, look, enjoying all things NFL postseason, NFL preseason as it is now, I suppose.
So does that, with the extra game last season, does that kind of make the draft come a wee bit quicker? Did that get kicked down the road a wee bit further as well?
Oh, no, actually, yeah, I think it feels like the draft's at the same kind of time as it is every year. I'd need to look that one up. Maybe I'm just that excited. It just feels like it's coming quickly.
Well, we are going to be covering it with we're going to be covering the GRID IRN-CRU. We're going to be covering all the off season. There is plenty for us to talk about, get stuck into, and you're going to hear from a whole range of voices from the crew. We'll be getting some new voices on. We'll be getting some of our old favourites back on the podcast as well. And we're certainly going to have a weekly podcast, but we're also going to be doing feature podcasts that we'll maybe record. That'll be a wee bit longer. Maybe a deep dive into certain topics. If there's anything you yourself would like to hear the crew discuss, look at, we'd love to hear from you. We're looking for your suggestions. We've got some great ones lined up already from the crew that we're going to be researching. A lot of this is new to some of the crew members, myself especially, so we're kind of hoping to help inform and widen your knowledge for the new NFL fans that are listening to the podcast, and that's where we are. The crew's here for you, so we're hoping to help you with that. Gentlemen, for the first time this season, let's start with our kickoff question. Just like Aaron Rodgers, we are out of the self-imposed darkness for the past couple of weeks. I think we needed that wee rest. Season 1 of the crew, we'd done 35 episodes, 2 pods a week. It ended up. It's hard going. There's a lot to do. There's very little downtime in the NFL. It really is the sport that never sleeps. Like Aaron Rodgers, we've recently emerged from our darkness retreat in an effort to seek clarity about his future. If you had Aaron Rodgers' resources, the money that he has, how would you chill out for 4 days? He just went into what was that big water pool bath type thing, wasn't it? And he just
is it one of those zero sensory deprivation efforts?
It sounds like it. Whenever I picture it, I think of the dark place from Stranger Things where Elle goes to, where it's all like the old 90s music video where there's like water everywhere and then it's just blackness all around. That's what I imagine that he was at.
See, I thought it was in some sort of house that was just completely cut off of the world and in total darkness. So I just had images of him stumbling about this house, feeling his way, making sure he was the kicking the footstool or something.
Listen, it's cost of living crisis. Energy bills are going up. You can't be having the big light on. as every wife and every mother knows across all of Scotland, it's always a lamp that goes on. It's never the big light. Maybe that's just what Aaron Rodgers is just Scottish. That's all this is.
He just kicked back to 2020 and having a wee bit of lockdown to himself.
A bit of lockdown.
The good old days. The good old days. I don't think he'll be doing any of the administering or the medicines that the government were wanting to do on him. But I think he was enjoying that.
His own, does he not?
He tends to go for something more herbal.
A wee bit of me time. That's all he was needing. I wonder if he's like sitting there knitting. Stuff like that, getting some Packers jumpers sorted.
That's where all those cheeseheads come from. He knits them all. That's how they get made. That's why they cost so much. That's why they were so expensive at the London games.
Hey,
Rodgers crocheted them.
It might not be Packers though. He might be looking to get some new wee balls of wool that he's trying different colours on to see if it fits him. What would you think? This emerald
Is this advertising the Seahawks? Aaron Rodgers.
Come to us.
Gino. And Gino, we trust. That's what I'm saying.
We might be discussing that later.
Yeah.
Listen, I've got faith there. What about you guys? What would you do? 4 days, all to yourself, no friends or family to annoy you. Where would you go?
You know, we've kind of mine's kind of been brushed on in an earlier pod, but I would stick with. I love the idea of doing like some big crazy road trip, like going and doing Route 66, something like that. You know, to go if you get Rodgers finances at your disposal. You know what I mean? Get yourself some really ridiculous, like tricked out car, like a big Mustang or something, and then just stay in amazing places. You couldn't you? Just get one of those really big tricked out. You don't need to stay anywhere. Just stay in the RV the whole way. That's got to be a shout. Just fill it with beer and snacks and just go for a big drive. Go and see some.
Just head into the desert.
Exactly. And we're back on those herbal remedies again.
That's what about you? Where would you head if you had the resources? Anything you want to do? 4 days away. Peace and quiet for the Waynes. No refereeing to do or anything like that. Just chillax.
I need to be honest, having watched some of the videos for the Super Bowl parties and the Chiefs players on their Twitter, I would be just absolutely going mental, drunk every night for the next couple of days. Like watching Kelsey on stages in Vegas with Pat Mahomes and Chris Jones and all those guys just having the time of their life at the Super Bowl party, the parade in KC. It would be something like that. On the flip side, one of the things that literally just popped in my head, I was thinking almost Aaron Rodgers style, just completely lock myself up and just do fantasy research because I want to win that 4 full days fantasy research and just get on top of it. That could be the other way to go. So I think that would involve probably a lot of another beverage, probably coffee or some sort of energy drink.
I'm going to put it out here that you sir, I'm going to be outraged. I'm going to say you're a liar because I know you'd spend your 4 days going around every pizza place in the greater Kansas City area trying to find that one that Andy Reid goes to. And that's all you'd be doing. 4 days. 4 days of trying to find Big Andy so you can give him a cuddle.
That just shows how uneducated you are. You're in Kansas. You don't go looking for a pizza place. That's like going to Rome and looking for...
No, but is that not what Andy Reid does? He goes to that one particular place to get pizza. Is that not his whole thing? Yeah. Aye.
Surely he's got to be...
No, but you're looking for Andy Reid. Oh, Andy, I know your head coach better than you.
Big Red will not be hard to find. There will be a whole sea of Wayne's World fans going, we're not worthy by his side or whatever it was.
I think, you know, from my side, you studying tape, that's right up your street. I can absolutely see that. Sitting, watching tape, scribbling me notes. You and Shaney, I can imagine Shaney doing that as well. If we were to do that. Me, I think I would go the Aaron Rodgers route. I like the idea of getting away from everything, totally disconnecting. Maybe get a wee trip to Machu Picchu. Don't know if I could kick about there for a couple of days. I think it would take me a 2-day trip. It'd probably take me 4 days to get there. Climbing on the back of a wee Sherpas, getting kind of wee carry up the hill.
A wee shivery.
Is that Aaron Rodgers this summer or Aaron Rodgers last summer are we talking about now?
Well,
listen, allegedly. Ayahuasca for a lift. What do you think about Rodgers then? Where do we think he's going to end up this summer? Does he come back? Is he revitalised? Does he see the youthful energy that's been instilled into the Packers that came in the second half of the season? Do you think he's got the get up and go again for another season? Or do you think he's looking for a wee change of scenery? Maybe it's good for him, a wee break for the Packers themselves to get that wee move. Studs, what do you think? Is it time that he moved on, or is he going to go for one more shot at it?
To be honest, there's no danger he's retiring. He is in no way, shape or form retiring because he does not want to share the spotlight with Tom Brady when it comes to retirement. So that is just getting wiped right off the table. I don't care what Aaron Rodgers says. He is not sharing the spotlight with anybody. When he retires, he wants it to be all about him. Let's be brutally honest about it. I've heard people saying the Jets and things like that. For me, Jets, they're a relatively young team. I don't see the sense in going for somebody that you're only going to maybe get 1 or 2 years out of. I could see them maybe making a move for a Lamar Jackson. Rodgers, I don't know. I don't see him having a chance at Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay are going to be that good this year. I think he moves on. Where he lands, though, that's probably the question. I think he's going to want to go to a contender, but which of those contenders are going to want to pay $50 million or whatever it is?
I tell you where I would have him go, and he won't go here. So I'm going to put it and say, but what I'm about to say is nonsense because he won't go here because of the exact reason that you just hit out as to why he won't retire. The Bucks.
Aye.
Yep. That would be talk about landing spots. They've got the weapons. I don't know what their cap situation is. To be fair, I don't know whether they can afford them.
I think it's great if I
but in terms of contender, the tools, all the rest of it, they've got rid of Lenny, but Lenny wasn't really setting the heather light towards the tail end of the year anyway. But he won't do that because he won't. There's no reality he would walk into Tom Brady's cleats, and that's just what everybody would say. I don't know. I think he should retire. I'm going to say I think the decision he should make is he should retire because I think every year he plays now he's just going to damage his legacy. But I don't know. I see him sticking with Green Bay for another year. I see us having lots of chat, lots of this, that, the other, and then at the end of the day, nobody's going to pay him, and he'll just stay with Green Bay. And Jordan Love will launch some form of protest.
I was going to say, Green Bay don't make a lot of noise about the fact that they want to play Jordan Love. So essentially, what you're going to bring Aaron Rodgers in as your backup?
No chance. If they've got both players, Rodgers starts the whole year.
Fans wouldn't tolerate that either, wouldn't they? Not. Just needs a couple of bad games, things not going well for Love. Then they'll just change. They'll turn on them. They'll be crying for Aaron Rodgers. He's too big a personality to sit on the bench.
I think the local
Derek
media
Carr was.
Well, they're shouting Raiders.
Raiders as well.
Just looking, Raiders have the 7th overall pick. the Jets have the 13th overall pick, so not really as high as the Raiders are, and the chances of getting a bit of quality there. This seems to be, just from the wee bits I've been hearing so far, a good year for picking up a quarterback. There sounds it. Is that right? Who you guys have heard?
Better than last year, but I think once you're outside the top, I don't know what you reckon. So I'd say when you're outside the top 6, I don't see you getting one of the top prospects. But then again, look at where Tom Brady was drafted.
And Pat Mahomes was outside the top 6. Mitch Trubisky was picked ahead of him. The Bears fans will never live it down.
My boy Baker was number 1. It still is in my heart.
Well, reunited with Davante Adams is certainly an option for him going to Vegas. I don't see him. There are 2 cities that you think that Aaron Rodgers, who loves to be spending that wee bit of time alone, quiet isolation, going to New York, the city that never sleeps, or going to Vegas, where
New Jersey.
But see, if you send him to either New York or Vegas, he immediately becomes a comic book villain, because you can just imagine him in like the top floor of a skyscraper, silence, maybe some classical music playing as he watches the city beneath him, with his hands like this, staring out into the darkness, plotting world domination.
Is that not what Russell Wilson did in Denver?
Attempted. He was less a Bond villain, more a Austin Powers villain.
He ended up deep in a bunker by the end of the season as well.
That's true.
We'll move on then. We'll have a wee look at the news of the week. Brian, I'm coming to you for this one. You have been having a wee look at some of the latest things that have been happening in the NFL. Do you want to give us a wee brief rundown of some of the things that you've noticed so far?
Okay, big things, as I say, big things I've been looking at, just obviously huge amounts of movement in terms of we are right in the meat of players being cut, players, the start of franchise tag season is upon us, which is brilliant as well. Obviously, big cuts, not so much just this week, but the kind of the top ones that we've really seen. Obviously, Carr, we know that he's gone, we know that he's in the market, very much leading the quarterback carousel. Wentz and Mariota are joining them, doing the rounds. Obviously, not quite as prestigious in terms of names or quality of player, but certainly they'll still be there. There's a lot of teams in the league needing quarterbacks at the minute. Big one for me that I never actually, and I don't know how it totally slipped past me. Bobby Trees got cut, which I think is quite harsh. I think Bobby Trees, he's getting on. Some fair wear in the old. Fair wear in the tyres, but he's a solid route runner. He's not going to blow you away with speed, but solid slot receiver.
He tweeted after it freedom or something like that.
To be fair, being a Titans wide receiver is not something that's been illustrious for a wee while. And then Randy Bullock, sad title like this. This one goes straight out to Stu. A kicker being cut. It's bad times. And then we've got a lot of things. I'll share this one because I know we're going to chat franchise tagging and stuff in a minute. But there's a fair wee bit of that going on. Lots of rumours and that, but we'll save that for a couple of minutes. But other ones. And not to, because I'm bad for this, because I get into the game through fantasy, so I'm terrible for neglecting the defensive side of the ball. But a couple of defensive players hitting the market as well. McCain, the free safety for Washington, Brockers from the Lions, Bio. I always feel bad when I see some names. I'm brutalising them. For Arizona, DB.
Basically, the Eagles' full defence is hitting the free market as well.
Allegedly.
Bradbury, they can't attack them all.
Gonna try, but so we've seen the first wave of cuts. You know what I mean? We're going to see more over the next week, and we'll get to the tail end of franchise tag season, and then we'll really see teams shake out some rosters ahead of the draft.
Do you know what I found really strange this year is, see the announcements that you're seeing coming through, we are planning to cut this player. Jalen Ramsey's, Leonard Fournette's a good example of it. The Bucks are planning to cut Leonard Fournette on this date. it's right. I've never known a year in NFL for that to be the case. It was always keep the cards close to your chest. Hope somebody maybe offers you a 6th or a 5th round pick for something. Okay, we'll trade you, even though we were going to cut him in 3 days. Do you know what I mean? I've never known anything like it.
That's exactly the trap the Browns fell into with Baker. Do you know what I mean? Like last year, there was no universe and anybody was going to offer us anything for him because everybody knew he was getting cut. So, yeah, no, you're right. It seems very strange that a lot of teams are doing that. That they're kind of announcing that players are going before they go. But I'm not a GM. I don't get paid the money to figure it out.
Is it maybe a way then of freeing up some space saying, right, we're in the market to get a replacement in, and then maybe entice some offers in that way? They're looking at freeing up the cap space so that they can actually get a wee bit of a replacement in, if you kind of understand what I mean. Maybe then it might be a wee shift in their draft position as well.
Yeah, it's the great thing with the...
Sorry, Brian, on you go.
No, I was going to say, it's the great thing with the league. You know what I mean? It's as much as you feel bad for players getting cut and all the rest of it. You know what I mean? It's the joy of the salary cap, and teams need to make these decisions. You can't just hoard players. You need to make the tough call, and you do need to free players up so that you've got that that salary cap space to use, and then potentially turn it into draft capital. Because, you know what I mean? Even then, we need to remember, I'm bad for forgetting that even though drafted players are relatively inexpensive, they've still got a cost attached to them, particularly those taken in the first round. You know what I mean? They still cost the team money. So yeah, no, obviously there is a big chunk of that. But I still kind of get what Studs is saying. This idea you're maybe cutting your nose off to spite your face a wee bit. You could get something in return for these guys if you kept it secret. But yeah, it's all about preparing for the next year, but it's all about the big push that's now starting to get going and starting to get rolling.
One of the biggest names that's hit free agency this summer so far has got to be quarterback Derek Carr. He's been speaking to a number of clubs, teams so far. New Orleans Saints is one. They had their second meeting with him on Tuesday at the scouting combine in Indianapolis. New York Jets, of course, they've made no secret of the fact that they are looking for an experienced QB. That's why Rodgers and Carr are being linked with his name. What do you think? Where can you see Carr ending up? Do you think he is maybe a wee bit younger than Aaron Rodgers? Maybe be a better investment in the long term, or is Rodgers' experience maybe weighing it more in his favour? Studs, what do you think? Would you be opting for Carr for maybe Saints or the Jets?
If I'm looking at the options of Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr, then purely based on age, I would probably opt for Derek Carr. I think he's been a more than serviceable quarterback. He's probably the definition of an average quarterback, to be honest. But certainly based on his career, he's had one really exceptional season where he was close to MVP and then got a really bad injury. But the flip side argument of that is he's never had a defence to work with. He's going to get that in your New York, potentially the Saints as well. The Saints have always been known as having a good defence. I don't know what they're going to look like next year, but he's going to have probably a better defence than what he was working with. So I would probably opt for Carr. I don't think Rodgers has shown anything exceptional last year to kind of make me want to pay the premium for him, because essentially that's what you are paid for Rodgers. You're paying a 1 year premium for him. At least with Derek Carr, he's going to be 32, I think, when the season starts. Potentially get 4 or 5 years out of him, as opposed to 50 million for a year for Aaron Rodgers for him to disappear next year so he doesn't need to share spotlight.
That's the thing. You would need the guarantee for Rodgers that it isn't going to just be for the year, even if it just to spread that 50 million maybe over the cost of that over the 2 years. The other thing is that one of the other clubs that are interested in Derek Carr is the Carolina Panthers. Their new head coach Frank Reich is still weighing up his quarterback option, but he says that Derek Carr checks a lot of boxes. That's another club, and it's interesting to see that there seems to be a three-way pool for Carr now. Brian, can you see one of the re-emerging teams like the Panthers, possibly the Saints as well, you could probably say, maybe sneaking in there ahead of the Jets, who had a great start to last season but kind of fell away, and it was more the offensive side of their game that was really quite disappointing.
Yeah, I'm with Studs in this one. I think the Saints is going to be the landing spot. He's got a bit of history with the Saints coaching staff. Dennis Allen, the head coach, was the coach that actually brought Carr in as a rookie and decided to roll with him. So there's obviously a bit of a relationship there. And the big bit that sways it for me, now don't get me wrong, the Saints will need to do some black magic to make it work for Carr, even though he's not going to be a tremendously expensive QB. They're quite tight, but they don't have a first. Don't have a first round pick this year. So if they don't go for Carr, they're going to need to bring somebody in, or what? Don't get me wrong, I don't mean to badmouth the Red Rifle, but another year of Andy Dalton and just leaving your team in total purgatory. You know what I mean? Or do you hope that Jameis rediscovers some vague form of even, I don't know if it's fair to call what Jameis had in Tampa Bay form, given that he threw as many picks as he threw touchdowns, but still it was entertaining, I suppose. But no, I think the Panthers will try and do something in the draft. I can see the Panthers going young. I think they're going to try and build something with distance in it. Yeah, the Jets are the thing. The Jets will definitely be there about. If Rodgers goes anywhere else, I can see it probably being the Jets. That's why I'm going to say I reckon if where Carr lands, it's going to be he's going to land in New Orleans. There's been a lot of chatting of the media and stuff, bigging up the city and whatnot as well. So I think that's a near as you can get it to a stick on.
See if you're the New York Jets and you're openly looking for a quarterback with all the shenanigans, if you like, that's coming out of Baltimore between Lamar and the front office. Do you kick the tires on Lamar? Because I'm seeing as well, Rashad Bateman's not happy at the GM now as well. Lamar's representatives have said that he has never demanded a fully guaranteed contract, despite
Lamar said he has. Lamar said he wants it.
His mum has. She's his agent, isn't she?
John Harbaugh said he has, but Steve Smith was reporting that Lamar's sources have told him they have never demanded a fully guaranteed contract. So
they've just heavily suggested that he won't sign unless he gets one.
They've just suggested he won't.
It's just, I mean, there seems to be a big disconnect between them, and apparently the rumours were that there's $100 million difference between them. If you're New York, do you kick the tires on Lamar Jackson? Because I know I
can see that the two New York sides with running QBs, Daniel Jones as well at the Giants as well. That could be interesting to see how that plays out for the teams. Okay, Brian, you had a look at the franchise tags and
all the franchise tag action.
Right, go for it. So for me, this is a curious thing because when I first got into the NFL, I was thinking it was just all about the play, and then with you guys, I got into the fantasy aspect of it. This is my first real off season where I'm actively looking at who the draft choices could be, like Studs was suggesting about looking at tape and stuff like that. I've not managed to do any of that. I'll leave that to next year just now. But I'm listening out for names. I'm listening out who's the ones that are highly tipped to be within the first couple of picks, who are the ones that are getting indicted by their local police stations to say that they had something to do with... That's a
long list.
That's half the
I'm finding that out. That happens. So, explain the franchise tag to us. So, for players who have been there for how many years does this apply for?
4. So, you need to be entering the last year. You need to be entering the last year of your contract. And Studs can keep me right in that. I'm sure it's you entering the last year of your contract. And the way a franchise tag works is teams get 3 options, but they tend only to use 2 of them. They can either give you an exclusive tag, a non-exclusive tag, or the one they tend not to use as much as a transition tag. Now, exclusive tag, of the 2 that they do use, isn't quite as common. That's basically a team saying, that they are going to pay you either the top 5, the average salary of the top 5 players in your position, or 120% of your previous year's salary, whatever's bigger. And it's exclusive, so you can't negotiate with anybody else. You are locked in. The non-exclusive one is same deal in terms of wages. You get the same money, but you can negotiate with other teams. However, if you are on the non-exclusive franchise tag and then you sign with another team, your current team, number 1, gets the chance to match what you've been offered. But then number 2, even if you just say no, you just really wanted out of that organisation or whatever, the team that you leave gets 2 first-round picks. So they do get a decent kickback off it. A transition tag, a wee bit different. Instead of being a top 5 salary average, it's top 10. And you can talk to whoever you want. You can try and negotiate with any team. Your current team still gets the opportunity to match whatever you've been given, but they won't get any compensatory picks or any of that type of chat. So that's the general kind of how it works. As we've seen it at the minute, we're kind of at the point where tagging and all the rest, it's just starting. The big name that came out yesterday, the day before, was Darren Payne for the Commanders, the DT. He's just been tagged, so he's been hit with the tag. One that's been just doing the rounds today, all over the news, Evan Ingram, tight end at Jacksonville. He's not officially tagged, but it is the big question is when will they tag him rather than if they will tag him. The interesting bit, and this is where we all enjoy the speculation, is some of the big names and thinking, right, these guys are eligible to be tagged. And there's lots of players in the league that are eligible, but there are only so many, and I'll run through some of the big ticket names that we might see get tagged. So obviously these players tend not to be happy about getting tagged because it's not a bumper deal. These guys are looking for big increases in their wage, particularly if you're coming off, say, your rookie deal. You really want to see something big getting added on. But we've got Lamar, as Studs has mentioned. He's potentially to get tagged. Saquon, Danny Dimes, Gino. His name is Gino, and he's landed on the tag. Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Brown Jr. from the Chiefs was eligible for the tag. Bates at the Bengals. Gardner Johnson, which surprised me. I didn't think he was eligible to be tagged, but Gardner Johnson is.
There's a lot of Eagles defensive side because Bradbury's out. Gardner Johnson, Fletcher Cox. I think the Eagles have got 19 players from the Super Bowl potential hitting free agency.
Yeah, but the big one, and then it's you look at the money these guys are. So, for example, you take Lamar just for a one, or you take Lamar and Danny, right? Lamar and Dimes, they're both looking for. Danny Dimes has been in the news saying he wants 45 mil, I think's his number. Lamar wants 50, and he wants all sorts of guarantees as well. I have no idea where Dimes is with that side of it. The tag number for quarterbacks this year is 32.4 mil. So that'll land these guys significantly south of where they value themselves in terms of wage. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I love the what ifs. You know what I mean? Like if you're the Giants, who you tagging?
The thing is that where they see themselves around about the 45-50 million, that's been set by your team. You have broke the market with Deshaun Watson and the deal that he got, fully guaranteed. That's just totally messed up the mark. But I can see the Ravens being quite stubborn here and deciding, no, we're not going to be held ransom here. We're not going to pay ridiculous money to a running QB. It's a dangerous acquisition to make because the guy's putting himself in harm's way as opposed to somebody like Rodgers who can look after themselves. Of course, depending on the O line, whether they're going to get hit. But if you've got a running QB who is going to put themselves in harm's way, their lifespan's not going to be as great as what you would hope from your QB. It's a lot to put into guaranteed money. I think around about the 30-odd million for my own team, for Gino, I think that would be brilliant. That's going to be more than anything else that he's actually made in his whole career, and he's been going for about 6-7 years, something like that, maybe even more. I think that would be a fair amount for the Seahawks and him to come to agree to, especially after the season that we had last year.
Gino right now,
a bit of hope.
Gino, according to over the cap. At
Was
the
it
minute,
10?
Gino, nowhere near it. Gino's 3.5.
Wow.
Apparently, this is over the cap's numbers. I don't know how they translate into reality. Yep. That's his average a year. So I don't know if he was on a very short-term deal or what have you. But no, you're right enough for what you said. I'll give the Browns a slight out in terms of what we're paying Watson a year. 46 is what he lands at a year, or averages out at a year, and that's for if he rediscovers the form he had before and etc., then it's money that's kind of the going rate. But it is, as you say, it's that guarantee, and there ain't no universe that Lamar is going to get that. At least I don't think so.
You were talking about the website there, Over the Cap. I was just having a wee look through it myself. The teams in 2023 season with quite a lot of cap space. You're looking at that for your rebuild. Bears almost 100 million in cap space.
Mm-hmm. I had that nearly choked. 100 million free cap.
Yeah.
And they've got the number 1 pick that they could use to acquire some more picks. So with what they've got for the rebuild, Grant's going to be absolutely loving this. They're going to possibly be able to set themselves up for the next 3, 4, 5 years in this one summer. But the players that they get in just now, the draft picks that they acquire either for this year for the number 1 pick and for future years, depending on how desperate someone wants to get that number 1 spot. I know there was talk of the Texans possibly making a trade with them. I think
if the Texans trade up for number 1, it's going to be the most Texans thing that could ever happen. They had the number 1 pick and they blew it again.
Lovie Smith just chuckling away at himself there would be absolutely wonderful, wouldn't it? Falcons have got 67 million cap space. Raiders almost 50 million, 48.5 million. Giants have got a bit of cap space, but they've got quite a few players that you're saying that they're going to have to try and tie up in deals. Saquon Barkley, the 46 million that they've got, that'd be going on.
There's Dimes.
Danny Dimes, yeah.
They're cutting Kenny Golladay, so it's all right.
Kenny Golladay. I think I can see the queue to sign him for Murray.
Yeah, they paid him quite
in 2 years.
Aye.
He was.
That's the reason you don't go fully guaranteed.
Actually, genuinely, unironically, seeing Kenny Golladay being touted on a Browns fan page as a potential target for the Browns, and I nearly choked. I know we want wide receivers, but come on now, let's have some standards.
Aye.
Brian,
marketing. I'm sorry, but there's better options than Kenny Golladay out there.
Brian, as Scottish educators, we're needing to get some of these union reps that they've got over there over to help us. And
absolutely. if Danny Dimes is worth 45 million, I want his agent involved in the pay dispute.
Fantastic. So that's some of the other tags. What do you think would happen with Lamar Jackson if he was to be tagged? He's already towards the end of the season. It looked like he was holding back. He was fit enough. He kept saying maybe a week away.
I think he'll be sore. I think he'll have upset Tommy.
Who was it? The bad hamstrings that ended up at the Chiefs studs.
To
the Giants.
Mr. Tony.
Touchdown.
Aye. Oh, hamstrings feeling a bit tight today, boss. I think I might have to give it a wee pass.
I do
He's walked one-legged into the end zone against the Jags.
I will say, if the Ravens tag Lamar, I see him holding out. I see him just saying stuffies. I'm no doing it.
The thing is, the franchise tag works with some players. Like Tony Pollard is a prime candidate for a franchise tag coming off a bad leg injury. It just makes sense. Obviously, the money that Zeke's on as well. It's a smart move for the Cowboys, which is not something we often say about them. Josh Jacobs for the Raiders as well. I mean, they ran him into the ground last year.
That was clearly the objective, wasn't it? they absolutely wanted him to break.
He's a candidate for a franchise tag for them again this year. And you're crazy if you're Josh Jacobs, I think, taking it, because they're going to run you into the ground again. If you've got 2 seasons of that, I don't see him I mean, he's no a man mountain like Derrick Henry. He's probably a standard-sized running back by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's got a lot of tread on the tyres already. So there's some of them that make sense. Like Orlando Brown as well last year for us. He was our franchise tag last year, and he kind of made some noise about wanting paid and various items like that. But he still eventually came in, got his Super Bowl, had some up and down games. But I certainly think in the early part of the season you were seeing why we didn't pay him. So for us, again, Orlando Brown makes sense as a franchise tag for me for us.
Magic. Any other players that you think it'd be a good shout for either picking up that's just been cut in free agency, or any more tags that you think you can see happening, maybe a bit controversial ones?
I would take Bobby Trees at the Browns. I'm all about this now that I've seen that he's in the market. He's genuinely he's a kind of piece that we're missing
for the past couple of seasons, so he'll be all right.
Aye. But as I look at the Browns wide receiver core, Amari Cooper's a clear-cut wide receiver one. He's the speed, he's the legs. He's meant to be that. He's top tier, maybe not elite route running, but he's certainly top tier route runner. Schwartz, DPJ are just there to be speed. They're just go route guys. And it's Dave Bell, who we picked up in the draft last year. He looked okay, to be fair. He's not had a lot of touches, but he wasn't given a lot of touches. That kind of suggests the training staff are maybe a bit concerned. So get Bobby Trees in, put him as a slot. I think that'd be a great pickup. I'd be delighted.
I think Cooper Kupp's been making noise about him getting him back to LA as well, saying he was like a locker room leader and stuff like that. So I think he's certainly well liked in LA, and I think there's talk of him maybe getting back there. They certainly don't have draft capital to throw about.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm just going to come back, sorry, really briefly, because I can't believe this now that I've found out. So Josh Jacobs, in terms of height and weight, so he's 220 pounds, so he's a big man. I'm taller than him. He's only 5'8".
He's a wee guy.
Like 5'8's a good height, guys. You're fine.
5'8", 100 kilos of Josh Jacobs.
How many inches does that take off?
Listen, that pomade's doing great work.
Who's the American talk show host? Conan O'Brien. That's where it's starting to get to a wee bit. Then I need to be careful with that.
Maybe need to be speaking to your stylist.
We take go and see Jerry soon. Jerry Kilcoyne down in Handsome Jacks in Denniston. Highly rated.
There, I thought it was just me trying to get plugs into local businesses. You're going for a discount as well.
We'll move on then to the NFL. We're not starting another.
No.
Podcast. I'm happy with that. I did tell you about the close season. We could maybe set up a golf one. I was thinking the 7-iron-CRU, but I think we'll leave that one now. The NFL coaching staff. Starting at the top, then there was 5 brand new head coaches that will be making their debut in the 2023 season for their clubs. In no particular order, we've got Shane Steichen at the Indianapolis Colts. Interesting appointment coming from the Philadelphia Eagles after their incredible run getting to the Super Bowl. You've got Sean Payton returning to the game to the Denver Broncos. DeMeco Ryans, this is one I'm really interested in. DeMeco Ryans going to the Houston Texans. There was wee glimmers of a change at the Texans with a couple of their draft picks last season, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets them going. Frank Reich is taking up his second NFL head coaching post at the Carolina Panthers. Again, a team that have been down the doldrums for a wee bit, but they seem to have been, with the Christian McCaffrey trade, they seem to be actually on the way up. They've got a couple of wins towards the end of the season. You wonder if that's a team that is in transition, but on the way up. Kind of like maybe the Lions were last season. And then finally at the Arizona Cardinals is Jonathan Gannon, another one from the Philadelphia Eagles, flying the coop there. Did you see, before we move on to this, did you see the ratings that the NFL, is PFA, their union, released of all the teams and what the ratings were of the teams, to do with how they looked after their players, how they were whenever they were travelling to other teams, what they were like for the food that they provide for them and the care for them. Some teams in the close season, they charge their own players to use the gym equipment. They actually take it for their wages. They deduct their wages.
Who does that?
They jump into the gym, they charge them for it. So the Cardinals were one of the worst. They get like D's across the thing, but the coaches were all getting well quoted. They were getting good marks, but the facilities and how they were treated was absolutely honking. So they're needing a
just imagine you're going to catch
change.
all the. Just imagine you're going to catch all the players for the Cardinals in the off season down at the local Pure Gym. They're getting that wee siren blown at them because they're picking up stuff that's too heavy.
No, they'll all be on Call of Duty. They're not at a gym. They're on squads on Call of Duty or something like that.
Kyle's got them drop them into Al Mazrah.
On Twitch.
Of course, we've got a Call of Duty super fan here, haven't we, Brian?
Absolutely.
You had one of the incredible shots, jumping out of a helicopter and taking some.
That actually did get. I got like a couple of million views of that on Instagram. Aye, that was good. I'll control a fear and everything. I need to say I like Gannon to the Cardinals.
Zombies, I think you'll find. That's the one for me, or Star Wars. That was my two.
Absolutely.
Those five there, who are we happy with? Who do we think's a really, really good appointment? Big one there, standout one, of course, there is Sean Payton going to the Broncos. That's going to be some ride there.
That's right. Broncos coming. Yeah, he's obviously the big name. He's who everybody was chasing. But I'm going to say the one. I don't know why, and I can't give you much of it. I really like Gannon to the Cards. I do like it. I think the Cards have got on paper a really good team. Maybe this is just a Browns fan in me. I'm just desperate for a team that's doing mince to somehow turn that around, and then I can see that it's possible. I can see that it can be done.
I was beginning to think the Cardinals signed Baker.
They signed Baker. I might need to get a jersey. I'll turn into Keith, see how many NFL jerseys I can get.
Just the two.
I like Gannon to the Cards. I don't know why I couldn't give you concrete stats or anything like that to it, but I think he's going to have some success. I'm hoping that he'll bring Kyler round. I like watching Kyler. He's a player I like to watch play, but he's playing well. He's really dynamic. So I'm cautiously hopeful that Gannon's going to be a success.
So I think with Gannon, it's going to be interesting to see who he gets as his offensive coordinator, because he's obviously more defensive minded. So he needs to figure out who's going to be running that offense. He needs somebody that's got a good success. He needs somebody experienced. So it'll be interesting to see his team.
They've got the third pick this year in the draft, and 13 million, I think it is, roughly, in cap space. So they don't have a lot of wiggle room there. They've also signed up their quarterback. They're quite a hefty, long contract as well.
So their cap space should get better, because D-Hop, it looks like D-Hop's on the move. They'll get either a lot of draft capital or they'll get tools back for D-Hop, and you would reckon his contract must be hefty. Surely.
I don't know, but Bill O'Brien did trade him for the Texans to the Cardinals for a bag of magic beans and Jones.
Promises of that. Promises.
Some strange tradings under Bob in Texas.
So you were saying that the Cardinals are, sorry, I was looking to see if I could find their coaching staff for this upcoming year. Offensive coordinator, you've got Drew Petzing, and defensive coaches, your coordinator there is Nick Rallis. I think they've came with them from Rallis, I think certainly has came for the Eagles. Petzing previously served as an assistant coach at the Cleveland Browns and the Minnesota Vikings. So good experience there to support Gannon. And you'd hope that, as you say, they'll be able to build something and get off to a good start with his first.
Sorry, Keith, I'll see how interesting I've just had on the Twitter for Ian. Just to poke holes in my argument. Social media hates me. Can Gannon run a defense on that surface? The Cardinals surface does take a bit of heat. Can Gannon do what he does well, which is run a good defense? Can he do it when the surface is going to be working against him?
What's the Cardinals?
Lost a couple of weeks ago, and so he should surely have a bit of background knowledge on it.
That's half the time they'll be travelling away, so they'll be able to win it back on the road.
that's your success story. Half the season's away games.
What's their D been like this the past year? Obviously not very good. They finished third bottom, but was there any
exhausted?
Any wee shining bits of light that they could possibly cling to, with the hopes that this season coming? Was there any good youth players that stood out to you at all?
For the Cardinals?
Yes.
I think they get that new signing at wide receiver, something Anderson, Chosen Anderson. That he looks like a bit respect. Never heard of that guy before. His third name change.
Oh yes. But I might have seen that.
Chosen Anderson is now instead of he didn't like his first one, so he changed to Robbie Anderson, and then he's now Chosen Anderson.
Oh yeah, less said about him better. You still try to trade him away in fantasy, eh?
Number 81.
Studs been trying to trade Robbie Anderson for about 3 years.
It just looks like you boys after that, because you just did not click on who I was talking about at all.
I know. It just we were both so willing to just accept that you were talking mince that we were trying to let you run with it, then we realised it was Robbie Anderson.
I was trying to add him to my Dynasty team there for a second.
I'm sure Studs will sell you him in Dynasty for the low price of 2 firsts.
That was only in redraft. I took shares in him for about 2-3 weeks. Week 1 was good, and then I tried to sell him, and nobody was biting, so he got dropped swiftly after.
That's a bad one. Chosen Anderson there, just like his picture. It looks like the guy for Don't Be a Menace to South Central whilst drinking your juice in the hood. He's like cheeseburgers, man.
that is the one, actually.
It's that crazy here. Right, let's see who else we got then. Peyton at the Broncos. Do you think he'll be the one to clear the deck there, get Russ in line, but allow him to cook as well?
He stands a chance. Do you reckon Russ is just a busted flush?
I don't think you've seen anything from him in a couple of years now, to be honest. It's worth what the Broncos traded for him. I think Pete Carroll probably masked a lot of his deficiencies. By comparison to other quarterbacks, he's a diminutive quarterback, so he probably has a lot of the same issues as Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, where can they actually see over the offensive? Can they see over the
Can you see over a 6'4" mountain?
Do you know what I mean? So, and then all the drama that comes with him. He's got his own office on the same floor where players are getting
not
cut.
Anymore.
Not anymore, I know, and that was good to see Peyton coming in and just saying, no, all that storm. He'll train with our guys. He doesn't have his own office. That's a lot of crap. So
I enjoy the idea of Peyton coming in and having that conversation like your dad. You know what I mean? Like just not angry, just disappointed with you. Like, what have you been doing when I've been gone? Your dad's been away for the weekend and you've redecorated the side bedroom or something like that, and he just comes over and like, what the have you done to this place? He's raging with you.
It's not in a primary colour or anything like that. Between teal. Right,
did they not bring back Vic Fangio as like defensive coordinator like a season and a half after sacking him?
Well, just now it's Vance Joseph. Fangio, I did see he's away somewhere else. Joe Lombardi is
the Dolphins.
Yes, that's who it is.
There you go.
Joe Lombardi is the offensive coordinator, and Vance Joseph is your defense coordinator there at the Broncos. So, I'll be interested to see how Peyton gets the reins of that bucking Bronco and see if he can contain that wild beast. You kind of expect it a lot from a guy that's coming with such like gravitas there. Everybody, he commands respect as soon as he enters the building, and the fact that he's able to say to his star quarterback, "No, you're not getting any of this stuff that's had you pampered for the past season or so," and then there's not been any real pushback for us. I think this could be the making of him. This is maybe what he's needing, that wee bit of grounding and get him into place. They've got an incredible D already, so you're kind of hoping that they've got plenty that they'll be able to build on. Shame they've not got any draft capital at all. I'm happy with my...
You look quite sad about
that.
My number 5 pick there, I'm looking at it. It's going to be beautiful. Beautiful.
See, on the defensive side, I vaguely remember hearing something about Vance Joseph coming in and calling out one of the defensive guys that signed a contract last year and basically saying that he hadn't been very good. And you're kind of like, right, he's one of your cornerstones of your defence. Is it really such a good shoot to come in and slaughter him before...
Start shouting at folk.
So, it's...
Tough love, that's what it is, tough love.
It's tough, son. I'll be quite happy if the Broncos remain a tire fire. So it doesn't bother me.
You look really sad about it as well, actually. You look just as sad as Keith does.
What about Frank Reich at the Panthers? He's come in. He's got offensive coordinator Thomas Brown there, defensive coordinator Hiro Ibero. I'm assuming it's...
It was a good bash, Keith. Not sure if you were right, but that was a good effort, mate.
I love my Spanish. I love a wee bit. I can speak a wee bit of Spanish. I'm not fluent in it at all, but Hiro Ibero, he's now my new favourite defensive coordinator. I'm going to be looking into his career there very well. Assistant coach, former assistant coach at the Broncos, the LA Rams, Packers, Tampa Bay Bucks, and the 49ers, amongst others. So, what's experience there?
It's been about. Mm-hmm. I think Reich's actually a decent move, to be honest. He done obviously very well at Philadelphia as an OC. Didn't quite work out for him at the Colts, but then when you look back at his tenure at the Colts, did he really have a settled quarterback? He get shit on by Andrew Luck a couple of days before the season.
He's moving into the same situation. Do you know what I mean? Are you going to tell me that they're going to sit in Carolina and run Sam Darnold as your franchise man?
No, well that's it. It depends, obviously, what they kind of do. As you'd mentioned earlier, do they start building run about him? In which case, he knows what he's going to get. I mean, losing your quarterback 4 days before a season and then flex into Jacoby Brissett to then flex to Philip Rivers to then go to I would say Carson Wentz, and then obviously this year Matty Ice as well. He's just not had a settled quarterback he can work with. So I think it'll be interesting to see. Don't get me wrong, if he messes this one up, I think Reich's done as a head coach. But it's certainly going to be an interesting opportunity for him.
From the couple of podcasts I've been listening to past couple of days, that were saying that Frank Reich and the noise coming out of the Panthers is that they're maybe fed up going for the middle of the range quarterbacks and spending those 20-30 million on them. It might be time for them to draft one and build them up. Give them the couple of years to experience it, to make the mistakes, but then build a team around them that they are going to get the experience and gradually get better. I love that about the NFL, how it's a long form type of sport. There's the immediacy of the games where you're looking for the impact and the brutality of it, but then you've got that's just the battle. You're thinking about the overall war, planning your steps ahead and where the team's actually ultimately going to go and how they learn from the mistakes and the losses that they suffer.
Got to be a big shout to trade up, surely. They're sat in the 9th overall and then they're back in again at 40th overall. So they're two pretty juicy pieces to start the conversation with Chicago. You know, I'm not saying that Chicago's going to accept those for it, but you know that's surely the entry point of a conversation for them.
Yep.
And there's certainly a quarterback that's in the draft that's probably got similarities to a certain former number one pick for the Carolina Panthers, the way he rushes hard in Richardson. He's a big unit of a guy.
A unit of a lad.
So he could be an interesting drop in Carolina as well.
Superb.
I can't wait for the draft. I'm excited.
I was well waking up at 6 o'clock the next morning for the draft to see your pick, and
I'll start day 2. They point me watching it start.
The last
That's all right. I've got the first pick.
So honestly, the draft this year, the first round anyway, for me is going to be like watching Bullseye. Here's what you could have won.
You're wearing your varsity jacket. You'll be all right.
I'll be fine. I'll be getting the new varsity jacket ordered.
I remember staying up for it 1 year thinking, right, here we go, it's just about Chiefs time to pick. And the Chiefs have traded away their pick to Orlando Brown Jr. And I was like, oh, I'm away bed.
Brilliant. Brian, you mentioned you had a statistic of the week.
Right, it's a sad one, but like it's a good one. I like it, but it's like, I feel bad for the guy. So it's not so much a statistic as a wee kind of factoid that came out, and it's about Paxton Lynch, or the sad story of Paxton Lynch, who's got the honour, the privilege to be the only quarterback who has been cut from the NFL, the CFL, the XFL, and the USFL. He's literally everywhere you can play professional American football. He has tried his hand and been told no. I mean, it was a decent pick. He was. I looked it up earlier. He was at the 26th overall back in 2016 for the Broncos.
John Elway nailed his flag to his mast, saying he was going to be the next guy. But I've just had some text messages through saying that some of the Britball teams have taken themselves out of the running to sign Paxton Lynch as well. So he's been knocked back for the Britball League as well, apparently.
He sounds like the Lee Griffith, the NFL, doesn't he?
His career. Here you go. His career NFL. His career completion percentage 61.7. He's got a tied TD record. Four TDs to 4 interceptions. But with a whopping 792 career yards. But there you go. Yeah, there's our statistic of the week. That Paxton Lynch, the only player to be cut from the NFL, CFL, XFL, and USFL. So it's
outstanding.
Something to put up above on the mantelpiece, I suppose. I imagine he's got a certificate.
He's the draft card.
He's stuck up his mom's fridge.
Gentlemen, great start to the new season. I am already looking forward to it.
Just before we start to wrap up, I've actually something just has piqued my interest, and it's in and around one of our free agents and a former number 2 pick, and who the current betting favourites are. Now, obviously, bet responsibly for those people that are going to do that. Apparently, so this number 2 pick is Carson Wentz that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
One bookmaker has the Buccaneers as the betting favourite. Makes sense. They're quarterback needy. Fair enough. I don't know if it was the route I'd go down, but apparently one of them has the Bucs as the favourites. Another one has the Kansas City Chiefs as the favourites to sign Carson Wentz, which made me chuckle.
Does Pat need somebody to clean his
Chad
shoes?
Henne has just retired.
No, you've got to keep him in keep Pat on his toes.
Keep him honest. Keep him grinding.
Maybe Wentz has seen what Chad Henne's just done and come in and he's went, oh, I could come in and play a half. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take a Super Bowl ring for 2 quarters.
It's all right. Wentz's name doesn't rhyme in any way with anything, so it's fine.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, there's more creative people than me out there. I'm sure somebody will come up with something for Wentz.
Why I oughta.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, one other thing just before we go. It was good to see that Scott Baird, the winner of our competition, got his top today, finally.
Yes, congratulations,
glad
Scott.
Glad he went for Donald, not Ramsey in the back of his LA Rams top.
Did you see Micah Parsons' response to the Jalen Ramsey trade rumours? Why would anyone go from LA to Detroit?
Oh, bold.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. The thing is, based on how Detroit looked last year, Detroit could use a Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
Certainly in that secondary.
They are on the up, they guys. Gentlemen, this has been great fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking football with you again, and look forward to doing it throughout the rest of the season. Brian, thanks very much, mate.
Thank you very much, mate. It's been a pleasure as always. Looking forward to next time round.
Yeah, Studs, thanks, pal, for getting involved.
No hassles, mate. Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much for listening to the GRID IRN-CRU. As always, we'd implore you to like and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at GRID IRN-CRU. We're on Instagram, grid_iron_crew. We're on Twitch, we're on YouTube. Just type us in, you'll find us there. Get in touch, get involved. It was good to hear Ian get involved with his question as well. We'd love to hear from more of you as well. We'll be back next week, but look out for featured podcasts. As I said, they'll be popping up in your feed throughout the off-season. If there's anything you would like us to cover, please get in touch and we'll do our very best for you. The crew will see you through to the start of the new season. Gentlemen, again, thanks very much, and I think that'll do for the crew the now. Thanks. Bye.
Take it easy.